This video is on balancing a checkbook. So you can see here that whether you have it on paper or whether it is in an online program, it still would look similar to this. So you would put your check number here, the date, a description of the transaction or who you wrote the check out to, as well as the payment amount, which would also, you can see, be the debit we talked about. The code, if there is any, a fee, which would be like a penalty amount. Your deposit amount would go here, which would be a credit, so saying maybe you got paid from a job, and then your balance goes over here. Okay, so you should have directions on the front of this, and it says you will be able to respond to the question, why is it important to balance your checkbook? Okay, throughout this, we're going to talk about the balance, the check number, the date, the description, the amount you subtracted, the amount of the deposit or credit, which would be an amount that you would add. Okay, and then the new balance that you can find by adding or subtracting the transactions. Okay, we will explain the steps for balancing the checkbook, such as what you do when you carry over the balance from the bottom of the page to the next page. We'll enter the check number unless it's a deposit. Then we'll either leave it blank or some people write it in DEP for deposit. Okay, and then we'll go through the rest of these things as well. Okay, so as we go through here, you can see that our starting balance is going to be $500. So we're going to write that right here in the top, $500. Okay. And then the first thing that we're going to do is write a little key for ourselves up here. So right here goes the check number. Okay. When we put in the date, we're just going to write it in a basic format. So if it was January 1, we'd write January for the month. So that's the first month of the year. If it was February, it would be a 2 for the second month. And then the day would be listed by a 1. So January 1. Okay. The transaction description would be the name of who I wrote it out to. So if you guys all wrote me a check, you'd write my name there. And then you can write a memo of what it was for. So maybe you wrote me out a check for, I don't know, tutoring or something like that. You would write Mrs. Reno, tutoring. Okay. Then you would put the amount that you paid me here. So if it was an amount you paid me, that would be subtracting off of your balance. So maybe you paid me $20 for tutoring. You would subtract $20 from the $580. Your new balance then would be $480. Okay. The code and the fee would come from the bank. So we're not going to do anything with those right now. And then a deposit amount would be if whoever you listed here had written you a check and you had deposited that. Then this wouldn't be a check number. It would be something called either blank or a deposit, like DEP. Okay. Then you would write your new balance here. After you subtract it, the dollars would go here and the cents would go here. Okay, so it's just your basic key. Normally you don't need to write that on each of them because as you do this enough, you'll know that basic format and you won't need to copy it down. Okay, so right now I'm going to say that you worked a job and you earned $200. So that would be money that you put into your account because you earned it. So that would go in I'm adding that to my balance. Okay, and we're just going to call it job. Okay, and this is a deposit. So again, you could either leave it blank. We're going to write in DEP for deposit. And we're going to say that we got this check on January 5. Okay. And then, so we're going to add the 500 plus the 200, which is $700. Okay. So since I just got paid, I'm going to sit down and pay some bills. So my first bill that I need to pay is my water bill. So I live in the town of Gilbert, so I'm going to pay that to the town of Gilbert. So I would write down Gilbert, or you could write town of Gilbert. and this is for my water bill. So I would write that down. And remember, it's not money I'm getting, it's money I have to pay out. So that would be a payment or a debit, we know that as. And that is a $50 bill. So the dollars would go here and the cents would go here. So I subtract 50 from 700. So that would be $650. Okay, and then remember I need to write the check number. So you would be normally looking at a check and you would write the check number down. So we'll pretend I was looking at a check and it would be check 1001, and I wrote this out on January 6th. Okay. My next bill I'm also going to pay on January 6th. This is going to be check 1002, and I'm paying this to SRP, which if you don't know is an electric company here. So we get to pay this bill so that we can keep having electricity. Okay. And in the summer, my bill would be a lot more than this, but since I'm balancing my checkbook from January, my bill is $100. So remember, this is subtracting. So I'm subtracting $100 from $650, and my new balance is $550. Okay. And then my next bill I have to pay is my phone bill. And I use Verizon, so I'm going to pay them. And that bill is $50. So I subtract 50 from this, and I'm now down to $500. So I got paid my $200, and I paid 3 bills, and I'm back to my original balance. Okay, but I haven't even paid for anything like food yet. So I'm gonna go grocery shopping the next day, and I pay a check to, I'm gonna go to Fry's, and we're just gonna call it food. You could put groceries or something like that. And I'm gonna buy groceries for a week or so and subtract this amount. So 500 minus the 100 would be 400, and subtract 25 more would be 375. So you're starting to see that even though you're earning money and you had money in your bank account, I'm getting lower than the 500 I started with. So I'm getting closer to zero. So if I wasn't balancing my checking account, it could be getting close to the amount where I would overdraw, which would be anything under zero. And I don't want to do that. So the importance of balancing your checkbook is so you know you have enough money to pay for the things you need to. Okay. So I got invited to a birthday party, and it's one of my good friends, so I'm going to go to that. But I have to buy a gift and bring a gift. I can't just say, sorry, I love you, but I'm not going to bring you a gift. I guess my friend would probably understand if it was down to like my last amount, and it was either pay my rent or come to your party. So I'm going to get her a gift, and I'm subtracting $25 more, which would make me have $350 left. Okay. Fortunately, I get paid every week. So on January 12th, I have another deposit of $200. So if I add 200 to 350, I end up with $550. And since I just got paid, I decided I want to go to a movie with my friends. So on January 15, I pay Harkins Theaters for a movie and some popcorn. And looking back, I probably should have made the decision to eat at home and not buy popcorn as well. But I made an unwise choice because I still haven't paid for my rent or my mortgage, my house to live in. And unfortunately, it was January, and because I'm a teacher, I got sick. I forgot the check number. So check number, and I ended up having to go to the doctor. Okay, and that was $110. And so I have to subtract $110 from here. And so I end up with $415 left. And remember, I get paid every week, which would have been on January 19, but unfortunately I put in my doctor one before, so I must have been a little delirious from being sick. So my deposit again is $200. And so I'm back up to $615. Okay. And then I was at the shopping mall and I decided that I wanted to buy something. But then I looked at my account when I was checking out and I said, you know what? Like, if I bought those $100 jeans and that shirt that I wanted to, I would only have $515 left, and my rent is $550. So what would happen if I had $515 left and my rent was $550? I would overdraw my account. So instead of making that unwise choice, I said to the clerk, you know what? I'm sorry, I'm going to put these back and I'm not going to buy this. So it's called voiding a check. So I decided I'm not going to use that check. I'd already written it out, so I had to write void on it. That means it's not good anymore. So that check 1008 is no longer good. Okay. And then I have to use check 1009 next to pay my rent. And remember, we said it was $550. So that means I have $65 left. And then on January 26th, I get paid again. And now some of you might be saying, well, then you could have bought those jeans because you're going to get paid $200 again, which would put you at $265. But I would have bought those jeans up here, and that would have made this amount negative. Even though this is a day later, I can't overdraw my account before I have a deposit. Okay? So if I stop at the end of the month, you can look and maybe see that it's pretty close. So I'm starting off my next month less than I started. So if I do that every month, where I start off less than I started, eventually I'm going to end up overdrawing my account unless I don't go to the movie or I spend less on my electric bill. But remember, this is winter and my electric bill is going to eventually go up in the summer. So I'm going to have to start making some choices about maybe lowering my rent cost, maybe getting rid of my phone, different things, or maybe I need a better job possibly, or maybe I need to work 2 jobs. So those are some life decisions that you have to make as an adult, but balancing your checkbook is one of the important things that you have to do. So remember that negative amounts are payments, also called debits. Positive amounts are deposits, also called credits.